So, Dr. Ganesh, I don't know the reason why the individual would have lost a job. In these times, there is a combination of reasons why people are losing jobs. But two or three broad factors, right? One, of course, the economic viability. Two is the whole redundancy that is getting camouflaged in the whole economic viability. And three, most importantly, is the fact that value add is typically not coming in, right? And when there is pressure, of course, organizations will find ways and means to look at that and deal with the pressures on hand. So I think understanding the reason for the loss of job is important. If skill set is not an issue, a value is not an issue, and cost is not an issue. And in fact, many of you all know Abhijit Bahaduri. He done a post on LinkedIn very, very beautifully where he captured the whole concept of job losses during COVID. And he spoke about skill sets and cost on a 2x2 matrix. And when I read his post, the first thought that came to my mind was to say, fantastic. If the skill is not there, the cost is high, of course, it'll lead to redundancy, so on and so forth. But I told him, and I replied to his post to say, cost skill is a 2x2, but what I would superimpose is a 3D model, which would typically add value as well. Add value as one of the components, because if you're sitting at a high cost, a skill's not there, not adding value, probability is very, very high that you might end up losing a job. Coming back, how do you make a comeback, right? And I was in a session with Shiv Khera the other day where we were talking about how do you convert setbacks into comebacks? And that's typically where your question is. So you need to figure out if there is a significant need to up your skills. Today, it's not about just getting an MBA, doing a CLP program. It's about learning every day, and not just learning on the job, but learning through a lot of new different skills, which is typically the left brain and right brain that I spoke about earlier. So if you're skilled and if you've lost a job because of a certain employer or the employer's challenges, be rest assured you will get hired back, you will come back into mainstream because that skill will be relevant and you will get a prize for that skill. But having said that, I think it's also important to explore the whole gig space. And I think that's a brilliant space to explore because with the way the world is changing, I won't be surprised today many organizations are building what they call the gig workforce within their organization to increase utilization of people, to ensure that people are plotted on various projects to give them cross-functional exposure. But if you have the right skills and you want to be a gig worker, so to say, I think that's a brilliant space to be in. But the one caution that I would leave you with is you should definitely know how to market yourself. If you're not good at that, I think getting work and building a brand, a personal brand, will become a challenge. And in a country like ours, unless you're not out there, you're not heard. And if you're not heard, you're not going to get work.